It's another Sweet Thursday, and we're going to be making a 4-layer chocolate cake with chocolate frosting. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Gravy in the Kitchen. So the husband asked the other day, do you have things to make chocolate cake? I said, sure. He says, I want a chocolate cake with chocolate icing. And that's what we're going to do today. So I have all the components we're going to need to make this chocolate cake. If you're interested in the recipe, I'll leave a link in the description below, plus anything that we're tweaking. You know us, we tweak recipes big time. Sometimes I'm very indecisive. I said 4-layer cake, changed my mind, we're gonna do 3 layers. 4 layers would mean I would have to do 2 cake pans, and then once they cooled off, cut them in half. That way I have 4. I decided I'm gonna do a 3-layer, and I have 3 cake pans. We need to get these prepped, move to the side while we make our batter. So I have some, a lot of noise. I have some coconut oil. I need to go ahead and get these pans greased and flour. And also I need to melt some coconut oil, because the recipe calls for a 1/2 cup of oil. We do not use conventional oil. We only use avocado oil, coconut oil, and olive oil. Coconut oil has the best flavor when it comes to bacon. Put this in the microwave for just 30 seconds just to get that melted. And let's go ahead and get our pans ready. It's probably more oil than I need, but that's okay. Get everything well coated. Yep, I got too much oil, but that's okay. Now, if you are fine using vegetable shortening, you can use that if you like. That is just not something I have in my house for health reasons. But you do you. I'll do coconut oil. There we go. And put a little bit of flour. And we want to make sure we get everything well coated with flour. Shake off any excess. I do like putting parchment paper in the bottom of my pans. That's just a little added insurance. I should have done that before I put the flour in there, but that is okay. I'm going to set our 3 cake pans off to the side until we're ready. So in this mixing bowl, I need to add 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, 3/4 cups of unsweetened cocoa powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 and a half teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt. And this recipe calls for espresso instant coffee. It's not going to add a coffee flavor to your cake, but coffee and chocolate complement each other so well, it will enhance the flavor of the chocolate without adding a lot of chocolate into your desserts. It'll taste like it's more rich and chocolatey without adding a lot of chocolate. So we need espresso powder. And if you don't have espresso powder, that's fine. We've actually done this in the past. This recipe calls for 1 cup of boiling water. I need to put that on the stove. And what I've done in the past is I would do it half a cup of hot coffee, whatever's left over from the morning, and I'll add a half a cup of boiling water. And that gave you the coffee, which will enhance the chocolate without adding more chocolate. But we do have the espresso powder, so we're going to use that today. But just remember, any kind of chocolate dessert you make that asks for espresso instant powder, just substitute the liquid with half coffee and half liquid. And 1 teaspoon of instant espresso powder. We're going to whisk that together. Break up any of those chunks of cocoa powder. And I do have water on the stove to bring it up to a boil. You want to make sure that cocoa powder, baking soda, baking powder, salt, flour, sugar, and that espresso powder is well distributed in this mix. Now you can stop right here with the dry ingredients. Put this in a mason jar or a Ziploc bag and everything is ready for you. You can make your own cake mix without having to buy the box cake mix that has questionable ingredients in it. So if you want to make ahead dry ingredients, we did that when we made yellow cake a couple months ago. I have a yellow cake right here, everything but the wet ingredients. And this is a good opportunity to have your own dry cake mix on your pantry shelf without bringing out all the things. We're not doing that today, but I do need to do that. So while I'm waiting for the water to come to a boil, I can get everything else together. So I have 1 cup of milk. I'm going to add 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Whisk that together. Need to break those egg yolks. All right, we're going to dump that into our bowl with the dry ingredients. One cup of boiling water. And a half a cup of melted coconut oil. Let's mix that together. We don't need to get the mixer out or put this in a stand mixer. Using a spatula will be just fine. Oh, it smells so good already. All right, let me clean up a bit. It's a little on the loose side, but that is to be expected when you're making chocolate cake. It's not going to be a thick batter like your yellow cake or your white cake. Just want to make sure everything is well mixed together. Beautiful. All right, here's their 3 prepared cake pans. Now we're going to divide this mix between these 3 pans. So I'm going to use a 1 cup measure. And we're going to add 1 cup at a time to each pan until they're all even. So far I have 2.5 cups in each one of these pans, and I probably have about 1/4 cup left, so I'm just going to eyeball it in between here. That looks good. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees. I'm going to put these in the oven, and they're going to cook between 30 to 40 minutes. I'm thinking right around 35 minutes. I'm going to set the timer for 30. We'll check on them. They need to be toothpick clean when you insert a toothpick in the center, and then we'll know it's ready. So in the oven, timer is set for 30 minutes. In about 15 minutes, I'm going to go in there and rearrange them. They're in there like a triangle, so I have 1 in the back, 2 in the front. And in 15 minutes, I'm just going to shift them around a bit so they're cooking evenly. Perfect opportunity to get those dishes done. When that comes out, we got to let it cool completely before we can put our frosting on. So I'll bring you back in a few minutes, family. All right, now we need to rotate them very carefully so that we're not disturbing the cake. I don't want them to fall. So I'm going to bring the back to the front right to the back, and the front left to the front right. And we're going to cook that for another 15 minutes, and then we'll check on it. It's been 30 minutes. I want to check with the toothpick, going right into the center. And the toothpick is coming out clean. We are ready. I can take them out of the oven. We're going to let them sit on this wire rack for about 10 to 15 minutes, just so they can cool off and we can take them out of the pan. And then we'll leave them on this wire rack until they're cool completely before we make the frosting. That's going to take about an hour or 2. When we're ready to make the frosting, I'll bring you back. And we're going to have some delicious cake. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the frosting. I'm using the small mixer, which is the Beautiful by Drew Barrymore. In this bowl, I have 5 cups of powdered sugar, 1 cup of cocoa powder, a half a teaspoon of instant espresso. That looks good. I have 1.5 cups of butter, room temperature. I'm going to use the paddle attachment. We have a 1/2 cup of milk. And we're going to need a teaspoon of vanilla. So I want to cream the butter first. It is softened. I took it out of the freezer last night, left it on the counter until it was soft. Go ahead and start slowly adding in the powdered sugar and the cocoa powder. We'll put a little bit of milk. Ooh, I'm making a mess, family. Y'all should have said something to me. I'm going to crank it up to a number 5. Add the remainder of the milk. And a teaspoon of vanilla. All right, let's take a look. Oh yeah, it's starting to look good. Do want to scrape it down a little bit. And I'm going to let it mix for about 5 minutes on number 5. 5 minutes is up. Look how beautiful that frosting, family. We have our frosting, we have our cake. Let's put it all together. Put a little frosting right here in the center of this plate. That helps anchor the bottom cake layer. It's been sitting here for about 2 hours. They're nice and cool. Let's peel that parchment paper. Place that cake right in the center. I'm going to put about 3/4 of a cup of frosting. And when you're frosting a cake, you don't want to go back and forth. It's going to pick up the cake and you'll end up with crumbs in your frosting. So we're just pushing the icing almost to the edge. Once we get it in place, then we can smooth it out. Do you have a cake stand? There's decorating cake stands. It's a perfect opportunity to pull that out and utilize it. All right, that is layer 1. Layer 2. Again, another 3/4 of a cup of frosting, and I'm eyeballing it. Pushing it to the edge. Smooth it out. And the final layer. Now we're going to take care of the sides. So I'm just going to go back around just to smooth out the edges with this spatula. Just take care of the top, smoothing it out. Now we have a chocolate cake with homemade chocolate frosting. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator so that frosting can get a little bit hard. Let the butter cool down, and I'll add a nice little crust of frosting on there. I'm going to save whatever's in here, because when it comes out of the refrigerator, if I see any spots that needs a little touch up, we can touch it up at that time. Anything left over, you can freeze frosting. I've done it. It works fine. We just need to put this in a freezer Ziploc bag. Make sure there's no air left in it. Seal it up, put it in the freezer. When you're ready to use that frosting in the future, take it out of the freezer, leave it on the counter and let it warm up. If it gets too warm, that butter starts to melt and it gets a little runny, just put it straight into the refrigerator until you're ready. And we'll put this in the refrigerator for about an hour, and then we'll have dessert of chocolate cake and chocolate frosting. So it's been in the refrigerator for about an hour. That frosting has set beautiful. The husband just told me he is ready for some cake. Ooh, family. Look how beautiful that cake is. Oh, gorgeous. Now, once you cut into a cake, it likes to dry out. So I take a piece of parchment paper and I force it right into that corner. Take a toothpick and that way it won't dry out. So I have the husband's cake and his coffee. We'll take this to him and I'll be right back and we'll sample this delicious chocolate cake. I'm gonna have my cake and my coffee. That cake is light, very, very chocolatey. And the frosting is the perfect amount of frosting. That is so good. So I don't need the rest of this frosting for this cake. I think it has enough frosting. I have a quart-sized Ziploc bag. I'm going to put this frosting in here. There's probably enough frosting to do maybe a dozen cupcakes. And now we have a head start on some frosting. The next time we want to make a yellow cake, a chocolate cake, or if we want to make a strawberry cake, we do have some strawberries in the freezer. So I just want to say thank you very much for hanging out with me in the kitchen today while we made a delicious homemade chocolate cake, a homemade chocolate frosting, put it all together, and we have dessert. If you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. Every Thursday is dedicated for something sweet and delicious. And we have a delicious chocolate cake with chocolate frosting. So until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family. And frosting for the future. Husband, is it good?
Yeah.
He's got his mouth full. He said yes.